Hello, everyone.
English. Hi, everybody. The event navigating the Japan market from the market entry to the location is about to start. Please come and join us when you hear us. We are about to start. Okay, let's warm up. Okay, while we are waiting the other people. I think after 6 p.m. it tends to be more noises from the other side. If become noises, I highly recommend you to speak a little bit louder, even though with the mic. Yeah. Okay. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us at this special event, navigating the Japan market from the um, from market entry to the location. We like to give the as much as possible the practical insights. So we invite Japan market entry expert Alex, which is he has have maybe uncountable startup. And he's a very, I think most of the people know him too, very well-known person in Japan startup ecosystem. And next, we are also welcoming the Karen. Her startup is all about navigating the Japan market, happy the foreigner companies coming to the Japan market. He also recently doing the amazing job in ecosystem activity. We see that like hosted the brigade like great speaker and things. I think we love to hear from your perspective because you are just focusing this topic as your startup. Next is we are also welcoming the Jason. Jason is a Series A founder. So he's originally from the Hong Kong. We are also going to hear more detail about you. How he has navigated Japan from the very early stage to coming stage, right? So I'm really excited about it. Let's go to the next. So here is going to be the event agenda. So we will make a little bit introduction about our organization itself, and then we will dive into the panel discussion. We will make sure the Q&A as well. So please make sure that you stick around until the end of the session, right? We will prioritize your questions. Please ready with your questions. Networking session is after this session we will do on the other side together. So, a little bit. So let me introduce very briefly about our organization, very briefly. So Openfor.co and co-captor is we make it possible like positioning ourselves as a constituent of the powerful partnership, make accessible for everybody. From the individual wants to be an entrepreneur, freelancer, to the growth stage startup, like a fundable startup who wants to raise a global investment. We make it possible to achieve with the partnership, Founder Institute, Founder Capital, and then a Decide Group. So Openfor.co is, we have the founders strengthening the positioning, visibility, collaboration, and global readiness. So you became easier to understand and trust and introduce. So we have the month-to-month non-equity virtual incubator supporting individuals to founders, across 30 different country, mostly focusing on the GTM and the contact, which is we were mentioned what kind of achievements we have done in the next slide. I'd like to introduce about the Founder Institute very briefly too. Sorry. Founder Institute is the world's largest AI native accelerator program, which is run in the 100 countries. We have 9,000 portfolio and then 45,000 mentor network, which is the world's largest mentor networks in the world. We provide a pathway for ideation to the structure startup development. It is a 3 month like with a 20% selection rate and 30% graduation rate. This is Founder Institute, very early stage. I think you might hear the Antler, the other accelerator, we are earlier than this. If you have an idea, you can come and work with us. So this is what our focus. Founder Capital is a VC fund of the Founder Institute, which is we back to the best founder of our graduate. This is very easy. Design Hub, this is a little bit cutty off, sorry. Design Hub is you might know the Design Hub, Modern Design Hub, the VC Lab. So VC Lab is an accelerator for the VC. So we have had the emerging manager to launch the fund in just last 3 to 4 years, more than 1,000 funds, which is, I think, more than 60% of the world VC population. I can say that. So which is in just last 3-4 years, we have launched 1,000 plus VC network. So we are also working with them. We connect from the APAC who wants to raise a global investment with the global investor who are interested to invest to the like APAC startup. So that's one thing that we are doing. Co-capital is mostly like a kind of like a contact and venture capital. I can say that. How can I say? We have built the exclusive contact collection network that includes more than 100 venture capital funds, over the 2,000 active venture supporters, and 100 plus ecosystem partner. So this is kind of more focusing on the VC community focus, but to achieve everybody accessible to this ecosystem. That's pretty much about it. This is in last 3-4 years as an Openfor.co what we have achieved. Apart from all the numbers that we have mentioned in here is we done with the Founder Institute like more than 6+ accelerator program. And then we also, we have a more than 70+ portfolio. We also do a lot of events too, like more than 120+, which has attracted like 7,000 attendees in the last just over a little bit 3 years. So as a founder, Openfor.co, I just want to especially start if you want a visibility, want to connect. Sorry about that. I don't know why it becomes a blurry. It's so hard to see. I will try to be improved next time. I didn't expect that it's going to be a blurry. Visibility wants to connect, where to start. You don't know it. Or you want to get the investment, but you don't know where to start. Etc. Wants to get a partner. So we have like a kind of month-to-month incubator. So please check it out and take a moment to take a scan. Everything is explained on a website. Please check it out. It's just another shout out there. Decide how, if you are interested to raise a global investment, please feel free to contact with me from the LinkedIn. I'm super active on the LinkedIn. We are targeting pre-seed to the Series A. Industry and geo-agnostic, we like to connect. We don't charge for connecting with a global investor. As long as if you're a good founder, we like to meet as much as possible with a good founder, okay? That's what want to do value-added support to our community. Briefly about my introduction. After that, I'm going to dive into the speaker introduction later on. I have a multiple hats, which is I am a co-founder of the Openfor.co and venture partner of the Co-Capital. And I'm also a director of Founder Institute, Korea, Japan, Taiwan. And I recently become a venture scout of the Decide group. I'm trying to navigate to become a venture capitalist recently. I will not dive in very deeply this part. I have more than 12+ partnership and business development. And then with the Founder Institute, I gained the ecosystem building master skill. I can say that. And I also do a lot of marketing things. So most of the marketing activity that you will see about the Openfor.co and Founder Institute things, it's operated behind the scene is me. So I'm happy to contribute and give a guidance, whatever that I have known. Apart from that, and most of the things that I already mentioned in the beginning time, so I can skip it. Yeah, the later details. Yeah, so one final shout out. We have an upcoming event, the same in the Venture Cafe, which is in the June 11. startup fundraisers in Japan. We invited some VC. Please make sure that you also follow and check it out from our social media, or you can also scan from here. We also have another online event which is targeted to the emerging manager, VC, who wants to launch a VC fund, wants to raise a fundraising focused one. But as a startup, if you have an interest or if you want to work in the venture capital, it also might be the right event. We invited to the very well-known connected speaker, which is the Metro. She have had like a kind of like almost more than 1,000 plus launching. Happy is she's one of the major key person. So she knows everything, connected with a lot of LP, all the emerging managers. So highly recommend you to come and check it out to attend and listen her speech if you have interest that topic. So let me dive into the speaker introduction from now on. So Alex, can you introduce yourself,
Sure.
please? Yeah,
Right,
thank you.
hello, everyone. So my name is Alex. I'm French and Japanese mixed, born and raised in Tokyo. I've been in the startup for about 18 years or so. And I've been involved in a lot of different initiatives to help foreign startups come to Japan, and recently doing a lot of the other side, like sending Japanese startups going abroad. Myself, I'm wearing many different hats too, but mainly my roles today would be my own company, Edge of Innovation, where I'm doing consulting service for large corporations. We're working with government entities like Tokyo government, Nagoya, Fukuoka, etc. And then I also am the Japan representative of a company named Start2 Group, which is an accelerator helping startups to go to other countries. And we are operating in more than 21 countries now, and we are sending startups from Brazil to India, to Korea, to US, Japan to Singapore, and so on. And as a Japan representative, I'm in charge of helping the Japanese startups to participate in those programs and also receiving other countries' startups coming to Japan. And I'm also the operation manager of Endeavor Japan. Endeavor, which is a nonprofit organization, having, I think, 50 offices now all around the world. And what we do is to find entrepreneurs from mainly developing countries like South America, Middle East, Africa. And we are helping them to grow at global scale. And Endeavor has been creating 87 unicorns so far. And so in Japan, my role is to build a community here to find high-level, interesting entrepreneurs and connect to the Endeavor network. And I've been doing this, as I said, from the time of MySpace, Ustream, Zynga, right? Whenever those, we were calling the venture companies at the time. And I've been involved in the Zynga Japan, MySpace Japan, and so on. Yeah.
Alice. Next, we'd like to move on to the next speaker, Karen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Karen, and I'm the co-founder and COO of Global Deal. I was born in Germany and am half Japanese and moved here after university. I grew up between both cultures, so Japan was never foreign to me, but it was also never 100% home. And so I've been kind of navigating the in-between. At my startup Global Deal, we help companies to enter foreign markets end-to-end. And a big part of my work is talking to founders who are trying to build traction in Japan. And the same challenges tend to come up. So I am looking forward to talking about this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen, for the introduction. Next, Jason. Stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Jason. Our company is called Wada Food Tech. We are a food service company enabling busy city people to enjoy hot and fresh lunchbox in just 9 seconds. Instant hot food service platform is what we are providing, and we are expanding from Hong Kong to Japan, and now we are headquartered in Tokyo. So the journey was so hard, and I would share a little bit more later. For myself, first time I came to Japan was my final year as a university student. As an exchange student, I was in Hokkaido University. Then I got my master's degree in University of Tokyo in electronic engineering. After graduating from Sony in Japan, I returned to Hong Kong and have been working with Hong Kong's semiconductors for around 12 years. Then 6 years ago, I set up this company. After COVID, we established our business in Japan, and around 2 years ago, we even moved our headquarters from Hong Kong to Japan. That's the journey. Definitely would love to share more later.
Thank you so much. So, the speaker introduction finished. We are going to be diving into the panel discussion for now. A lot of people are joining from the online session as well. Please make sure that you also prepare your questions. We will prioritize the physical questions as in the same time we will try to prioritize to check the US Q&A from the online message in the same time too. Please allow me a moment. Shall we a little bit dive into, but very briefly, because you already introduced yourself, especially for the entry to the Japan market, we are targeted to the foreign startup, right? Maybe also a foreigner startup who is living in Japan, maybe. Like, what is your experience you have done so far that double clicking on that part only? Briefly explain. I think, Alex, you want to start?
Sure. Difficult to make it short, but I've been running different accelerator programs with different governments. So I've been the lead mentor of the Canadian Technology Accelerator. I've done the Go Tokyo of Austria. I've been working with Italy and many different countries, programs that would help their startups come to the Japanese market. So more as a mentor, but I also have been the Japan rep of French startup, or as a part of the French tech, helping the French entrepreneurs, try to find their way in Japan and so on. So I've been very abroad, but I've been doing Japan rep and also advisor. Yeah.
I see. How about Karen? Your journey a little bit.
Yeah, so at my startup Global Deal, what we do is we help companies to enter various foreign markets, and a lot of our customers are startups. So I'm working with startup founders from the US, from Japan, from Europe, and help them to enter, like one of the main markets that we're targeting right now is Japan. And also on the other side, as a startup founder, I've been in Japan, but also to the US to fundraise, to talk to customers, and to talk like from founder to founder to other startup founders. Same in Europe. So yeah, I've been active in different global startup ecosystems, and it's quite interesting to see the differences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will skip this question to you because you are not supporting the startup thing. So we will move on to the next question. Before we talk the deep dive to the tactics, I would like to start from the Jason that what makes Japan fundamentally different from the other countries from the founder perspective?
Yes, this is a very big question.
Yeah,
And
I know.
everyone knows that Japan is so unique. Otherwise, we won't be here
Yeah.
to discuss about this. So from the perspective of language, laws, regulation, and business behavior, everything is so different from other countries. And we are expanding business from Hong Kong, across Japan, and Australia, UK, and US. For me, there are two words.
Okay.
One is Japan. The other word is non-Japan. So
Okay.
we can explore more later, and definitely it is full of challenges and opportunities.
I see. Alice, can you also touch a little bit this one? What this Japan fundamentally is different from the other countries from your perspective?
Well, every countries are different, first of all, but I would say the uniqueness of Japan compared to other countries is like it's very difficult to change anything. So that's why it's very difficult to come in, But the thing is, once you have a contract, they don't want to change the contract, right? So it's relatively easy to stay. So that's what I'm telling to the startups who are part of our programs and say, why would you come to Japan? Why should we go to Japan? And say, like, it's going to be a long shot in both ways. It's going to take time to come in, but once you're here, you can have a very long relationship.
I see. Karen, I'd like to a little bit change the same questions, but a little bit. That so, Japan is like, especially startup things is changing in last 5 years, 5 to 7 years, a lot because we are we started the Founder Institute in the beginnings of that changing time moment at right time. From your perspective, I said like you also start up and that's happy the other startup do. What do you have see so far the changes? Like you feel it like anything changes, you feel it like what changes have. Okay. So Japan fundamentally they both mention it's a different thing. Anything changes that you see?
I would say changes that have been happening recently is there is more support available for startups.
Okay.
So the government is putting money into support programs. So if you are a founder and you are looking for support, you will find it. You have, for example, a lot of programs by JETRO that you can attend for free that are giving you access to a network that you can otherwise not access. So that's definitely a big thing. There are a lot of startup events happening. And if you want to connect with people in the startup ecosystem, that's definitely available. I would say that's a big difference.
I see. Alex and Jason's like any questions that if you want to a little bit jump in, like I have a different opinion, feel free to jump in. Just don't wait the I'm calling to that one. I think she quite covered the nice coverage of what has changes in the Japan startup ecosystem in last 5 years. I'd like to move on a little bit next session, which is these panel discussions, I like to focus on two different things, which is very early stage, like pre-seed level to maybe pre-A, I can say that. The early stage, how navigated to the Japan market. So that early stage can be the foreigners who are living in Japan. Maybe they married to the Japanese wife, they don't have a visa issue, or like someone outside Japan stay early, but they're thinking to enter the Japan market. So early stage, and later on we like to a little bit differentiate different session because tactics, I believe it is very different. After Series A, coming in Japan navigating market, I like to separate this category. I don't want to mix it. So first, let's start with the early stage one, okay? For early stage founder outside in Japan or who lives in Japan, whatever, how they can know that whether Japan should be their current roadmap now or whether it is stay early, like how they should navigate it. Who want to start? You can pick up. Alex,
Sure.
okay, sure.
So that's one of a very important topic that we teach at our accelerator, right? And again, it's not only about Japan. Anywhere, if you want to start a company, you have to be sure that's the right place to be. Okay, so it's not. I see a lot of, especially for Japan, something we don't see much outside is that we have people who want to do business in Japan because they want to live in Japan, right? And that doesn't happen much in Silicon Valley. People go to Silicon Valley to make money to do business, not because they want to live there, right? So that's a big difference. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs who say, yeah, I want to live in Japan, I want to live in Tokyo, and that's the reason why they come here. And so I say, stop, right? So if you want to do this, become an employee, then starting a business, which is extremely tough to do. And if you are not a fit as a business structure or a business idea doesn't fit with the country's specificity, it won't work, right? And you have this big visa issue now. So, it's very important to make sure that if you want to come to Japan as an entrepreneur, be sure that that's the place to be and that you have the right fit and you are sure to be able to find the partners or like the markets there, the need is here, right? It's not because you have a good technology, it's going to work here. You have to be sure that there is a need, right? So make sure to spend enough time to do the market assessment. And when you select the market, it's very important to pick with the market fit and not market size, a lot of countries has way bigger market, but not the fit for you, right? So there's a lot of so I could speak like for 3 hours about this, but that's the very important thing. Make sure that you have the fit up to the Japanese market, which should be the reason why you would come as an entrepreneur. If it's just for living in Japan, I really suggest to come here as an employee visa.
Thank you. I agree most of the part that you were saying. Other speaker might have a different perspective. Jason, you want to pick up?
This is this is a very complicated situation, and it is very important to understand the timing for entering a new market. And I might answer in two perspectives. On one hand, as Alex mentioned, the decision-making process and the engagement process with Japanese corporate clients is very, very long. So it is never too early to start conversation with Japanese corporation, particularly if we do B2B business. On the other hand, if we start the conversation with Japanese corporate clients, they already expect everything can be perfect, even in the so-called POC stage. In Silicon Valley, we would say POC is proof of concept. But in Japan, POC already means a lot, means perfection, to try. So for Wada Food Tech, our technology has already been verified by over 1 million of meal box sold. But when we came to Japan, everything starts from POC again. And today, when we engage with corporate clients still demand us to do POC.
Even though you have 1 million transactions in outside.
Yes, that's very unique, but I won't say it is wrong. Then to answer your question, and it is complicated situation in Japan, and it would be very good to start early because we all understand that the decision-making process of engagement can be very long. On the other hand, as Alex mentioned, once we confirm the deals, it will be very sticky relationship.
Okay, Karen, you want to add a little bit?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I would say it depends, since you mentioned very early stage startups, do you already have a customer elsewhere? Because if you don't have a customer in another country yet, our early stage are now coming to Japan to try to find a customer there. It's gonna be very complicated because in the beginning you need to move fast. But in Japan, processes take a lot of time. So if you didn't verify product market fit yet elsewhere, Japan most likely is not the best place to try that out because it takes so long, unless there's a specific reason why you chose Japan. So if there is a specific reason, like you think for some reason that Japan is a great market for you, then it could be different. But otherwise, I would say Japan might not be the best place to start if you come from outside.
When the water comes, what was the stage that to Japan? Is this after seed or like pre-seed? Which seed did you come to Japan?
Okay. I can share our company's experience. We started conversation with Japanese corporate clients even during COVID. During COVID, everything was online, but we started to join so-called online accelerator program to start engagement. And then from that engagement, we spent around 2 years in shipping our samples to Japan, let the corporate clients to try, and then after COVID, we established our Japanese company, and that 2 years of trying works. And our Japanese corporate client even invested in us when we started the Japanese corporation. So it is never too early to start the conversation.
Okay, so as a summary for the early stage founders, what we have to say is, if you come here for living in Japan, come here as an employee first. I also see a lot of entrepreneur, especially in our founder institute, etc. Too. They work as an employee. They start to have a like kind of PR or like existing visa no issue, and they also start to pick up the Japanese culture and Japanese language, and then they start a startup, which is a one quite successful, and they eventually transit to a corporate startup, raise fund for the Japan customer or like a Japan investor or outside investor. That's what Alex is trying to be mentioned. So if you cannot, you don't have attention to living here, you stay early, you don't have attractions yet, don't even think about it, Japan. So that's what Kellen is trying to mention, I guess. And from the water experience too, because you come here, you already have attractions outside, so which is already matched up what they have mentioned things. And you, so this is a kind of what I understand it. If you want to a little bit, how can I say, tap in, my summary is not correct, let me know, okay? So I think, so for the even like let's say after series like early stage startup like but they already have attractions in outside like a water style. If they also think that Japan already understand it's gonna take longer than expected, but this is a market that they want to target no matter what. Like let's say this with this situation, what is the roadmap that you want to guide them to come and approach to here? They already have attractions in outside somehow, but stay early, like before the Series A, I can say that. You want to say that just wait until the after Series A, or like no matter what you want to enter, this is a roadmap. Anything, if you want to share, you can share. After that, I will dive into the growth stage.
But I think that's exactly what Karen was saying. Like, if you don't have the right fit into the market, or if you don't have already the product which would fit to Japan, then you know it's going to be very difficult to start it in Japan, right? On the other hand, though, through our different programs, I've met few founders who only had the technology, not the product yet. But because of what they're trying to do was a fit more to the Japanese market than their own market, they were trying to come here. For example, I had a company who was developing a sensor to analyze the strength of the bones, right? And I forgot the name in English of this disease, the kotsososho, right? Where you have a very easy to broke bones, right? And with X-ray, it's very difficult to detect. And they had the sensor very small that would detect this thing at the early phase, right? And so they did the research and they figured out that the Japan would be the biggest market for them, because this is where you have the biggest amount of elderly people. They work from Germany, but you know, the Japanese market would be much bigger, right? And so if you have these type of reasons why Japan would be better than your own country or anywhere else, then why not starting in Japan? But again, it's extremely difficult to start, so you have to be ready financially and emotionally too, because I've seen a lot of founders who say, all right, after 2 years, they couldn't, you know, they give up and say, yeah, and VCs don't want to talk to me because I can speak Japanese, right? That's the very harsh environment, I think, for foreign entrepreneurs, yeah.
So I just want to make a sense of navigation. Where is a starting point? Like should be right. No matter what, they think that this is the right market. Without prioritizing the other market, we are going to go to the Japan stage. So Karen, you want to give some sort of roadmap for the early stage startup, but they think that this is the right market that they want to prioritize even the early stage.
Yeah, first of all, definitely yes to what Alex said, come with enough runway. And then first, I would say understand the market. So talk to the people who will be your customers, which starts with who is going to be your customer. So for example, in the case of this product, is it going to be the person who's going to use it? Or is it, for example, how do you call it, lodging home?
Elderly care.
Yeah, facilities, or is it hospitals? So understand who's going to be your customer and then talk to them and really understand what the issue is and how you're going to sell to them. Like how is the supply chain, who's going to be the person who's going to purchase in the end, who are other people that need to be involved. So map out what's the ecosystem like, the market. Are there maybe relevant regulations that you have to take into consideration? Because if you started, for example, building the technology in Germany and you have the necessary certificates for Germany, it might not directly translate to Japan. So maybe you have to get specific, country-specific certificates before you can sell, maybe even before you can have a POC. And then figure out who are the people, who are the people that you need to have relationships with, like people on the approval, regulatory approval side, people within the supply chain, and then find the people who can make those introductions for you. Because if you try to build the relationships yourself, you're gonna spend years. Yeah.
So I think I see that in conversation from the Jason also mentioning that he was joining during the COVID time online accelerator remotely. That's one like kind of entry point that you initiated to the market. So the accelerator foreigner friendly who has an interest foreign technology to come here, have a connection here. That can be a launch pack. That's a one sense as a roadmap I see it. Is there anything that you want to add or like please feel free to mention too? Feel free to jump in later or after his conversation too.
Oh, if I may, one thing, instead of what we should do, there are things we shouldn't do, which is rushing to create a Japan office. I've seen a lot of startups who said, okay, the first thing we should do is to create a Japan office. They register the office and then they have to hire someone because you cannot have an office without any employees, right? And it's going to start costing money without getting any contract. So I believe it's very important to find few leads at least before you open the office. And more Japanese countries are now ready to discuss even if you don't have the Japan entity. And that's a big difference compared to 15 years ago, for example. 15 years ago, Japanese company, the first thing they would ask, okay, come back once you have the Japan office. But now,
It's changing.
yeah, first of all, they speak English now. And also, they now can openly have conversation even if you don't have the office. So that's, I think, a very important thing, yeah.
Anything that you want to add, Jason?
Yes, as you mentioned, I also recommend the accelerator program and incubator program in Japan. It is really helpful, and most of them are free for foreign startups. English speaking friendly, connection with Japanese corporate clients, and also procedure for establishing a company if we want. So it is a pretty good start point to get the things free to kickstart. And the most important thing is maybe we did not mention too much about language because both of you can speak native Japanese. But for most foreign startup, we can only speak English. So language is also very important. And the accelerator programs and incubator programs would help the foreign founders to communicate more efficiently with corporate clients.
Yeah, I see. I think we have 40 minutes left. I just want to make sure that I like to dive in more for the early stage one. I think there might be an overlap the strategy for the growth stage. Like if you already have after Series A, you have all the markets necessary. Okay, this is a time. Let's prioritize the Japan market. Like that kind of sense that I like to start to dive in. And I also like to prioritize the question and answer from the audience as well. So let's go to the later stage, right? So for the later stage, like I just want to put up the like a kind of setting up the tone as a later stage because I'm saying most of the if you're early stage, listen or right fit, don't even think about it. Come back after the later stage. I find three ways, which is investment linked, or corporate partnership, like started to make it. Even though you said that even though you have a lot of trash in the Series A, you need to do the POC anyway, study from the scratch. Corporate led after make it successful, and then you get the investment. That second way, and third way is a community led. Community led mean like it does not require the conversation a lot. For example, Zoom or Miro, like mostly used by the like coder or like programmer people. They just use and like integrated. They don't need a lot of things. But product league community is just using, adopting, and then a group. So that's the three things that I see from my perspective after working long time in Japan with the startup ecosystem. So like additional point, this time, Jason, you want to start like from the growth stage startup. What would like if you are coming to Japan after the Series A, how would you have done, or any things that you want to share that like kind of my perspective? I did that way. I think this is a highly recommend you to do this way like that.
Yes, maybe I can share a little bit more about fundraising.
Okay.
Fundraising in Japan. And again, it is very unique. I personally experienced a lot of failure in fundraising in Japan. And the good thing is, fortunately, we secure one Japanese corporate investors who can help us accelerate our business in Japan. On the other hand, I have to say that for foreign founders, it is not easy at all. Not easy. Some rejection might be simply due to communication. Some corporation would challenge, if we invest in you, our LP always requires monthly report in details in Japanese. Can you make it? But we can spend such efforts and resources in raising in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, from UK or US. So it is not easy at all. And on the other hand, if we can secure something, in addition to the funding, we can get a lot of support from the corporate investor. So it very depends. And as Alex mentioned, for survival, we might have two streams of fundraising. One is Japan, more for strategic investors, and another stream is for survival, for raising fast and expand faster.
Interesting. He touched like a fundraising point. Is there anything like a kind of, there's a three way that I mentioned, maybe get either investment part you can touch to, or like if you can touch to the get the first partner, strategy partner or customer, it would be appreciated.
So I think it really depends on the case. Regarding the fundraising, it's also, if it's the way for you to come to Japan, it's going to be difficult if you don't yet have traction in Japan, because most Japanese investors will want to see traction in Japan and not abroad. So if you are coming in order to get money to finance the Japan, market entry, then it's a kind of chicken and egg problem, because you first need traction to convince the investors. And then regarding the other points that you mentioned, community-led growth, that can work well for consumer products, or if you have, like you mentioned, a developer tool or something like that. But if you are in a highly regulated industry, like deep tech, because that's most of the companies we are working with, then community-led doesn't work. So in that case, the best option that you have is to go with a corporate partnership, because if you can get them, they also open doors for you and make things possible that you cannot reach by yourself, like introductions or access to distribution, and also kind of building the credibility for you that you cannot build yourself.
Alex, you want to add
Sure.
anything?
So maybe a bit of a mindset tip whenever a company would try to come Japan, especially companies who have experienced the US market, where the discussion is very fast. If it's yes or no, they're not gonna make you wait for 1 month, right? So I had experience working with those startups who did quite well in Europe. They went to US and then, all right, let's go Japan next. But what they were not expecting is to spend 2 months to set up the first meeting. And then the next meeting would come 1 month after, right? And so whatever I told to the startups is like, if you want to come Japan, be patient, and you will be surprised how long it could take to sign an NDA, for example. You could take 2 months to sign an NDA, right? So, and they were like, what? But that's the truth. So that's one very important thing. Be patient or be aware that it's going to take much more time than compared to other Occidental countries. The other thing is when dealing with distributors, for example, I've seen some companies making the mistake of signing an exclusive contract. Never do that. Right? If you find a distributor, make sure that you don't give the exclusivity. If they ask for it, let's say maybe you can have exclusivity in the Kansai area or exclusivity in the, I don't know, automobile industry, right? Try to make sure that it's not an exclusivity the whole country, because if they lose interest to your product, you can do nothing, right? So it's going to be a dead end. So when signing distributor, make sure you don't have exclusivity. And then cold calls is very difficult too, right? Again, I was helping a marketing company, and we made about 400 inquiries from the web or going through LinkedIn. You know, the usual thing that would at least end up, if you do 400 calls, you can expect to have maybe 50 or even more first meeting, or at least they will call you back. But in Japan, like you made 400 calls, we get like 3 meetings. You know, so they don't like to have a new conversation from someone they don't know, especially if you're not a Japanese company, right? So it's very difficult to go. I think you were also mentioning that introduction was very important, and that's the reason why, because they only want to discuss with people they already know, right? So if you can have the right person, like connector, then you could go to different companies. But you know, so taking time, very difficult to get the first meetings, and yeah, not exclusive.
From my experience, I'd like to a little bit share. I think they are the VC that who is just focusing foreign startup, growth stage startup, and interesting technology wants to bring to the Japan. That is a VC. If you are after Series A, you should list up. I have that list too. I'm happy to share if you reach out to me. I'm thinking to post in a LinkedIn post as well, like as long as it is useful for you guys. So they even search it, who can be the potential to the Japan market. Sometimes they even beg, please take my money, something like that. So all the investors are like a Getty investment and Kami, and they give the money. They kind of introduce like a kind of POC or walkway, and then if it is working, they accelerate. So they kind of put it the investment and then to get the first partner and customer. That kind of position they work with it. And then you also can find the other potential corporate partner and customer, hire the people, etc. that you can do it. And another thing is I also see that every investor don't invest, even though that kind of investor don't expect that they are going to be invested right away. Sometimes they ask you by introduction, can you try the POC with this? Like if it is going well, I will invest you. Come in and happy you. That's also quite common types that I see. So don't approach every VC in here. Try to make sure that you understand their thesis. So this VC is focusing early stage or late stage, or go Japan to global or global to Japan. So depends on that one. It's easiest to make a conversation. That's a little bit one thing that I like to add on. I think we cover a lot. It's 10 minutes left. I have some predefined questions, such as like anything challenge. What do you see that like want to shout out things but I'm going to prioritize to the audience in that 10 minutes. If they don't have it, I will return back to my predefined question. So let me check to my audience in the Zoom as well. Wait a minute, I don't see. I don't know why. It says Zoom is still working. Oh, okay. Pardon me. So in a Zoom, we can also come you. First, let me start the first two questions from the audience. So audience, okay, one, any question, one more questions that we are able to accept it too, and then we will go to the online. Okay, let's start.
So it seems that Tokyo is the mecca of startups in Japan. Everyone comes here. But what can other regions do to support their startups so they don't leave their regions? Like don't leave Kansai to go to Tokyo. What can they do to grow their ecosystem so they stay or cultivate new startups to go there?
Any person wants to
Sure.
pick it? Okay.
So I'm in touch with many different local governments in Japan, and some are trying to differentiate by type of industries. For example, Hokkaido, the big island in the north, they are about agriculture, space tech, because you can. I think it's one of the only places in Japan where you can launch rocket without going to a small isolated island, right? So this is their strengths, and this is the angle they are trying to tackle. And some, for example, Fukuoka, is about regions. So they are trying to become the gateway with Taiwan, Korea, and Asia because of the local, the location of the city. And also because recently they are having more and more semiconductor businesses there. They're also growing this side of industry-specific thing. Nagoya, so they have I think the Japan's largest startup campus called the Station AI, where they can host more than 1,000 companies, right? And they are having a program called the Landing Pad, where they are, as Jason was saying, it's a free program for foreign startups. They will help you connecting to the quite strong network of Nagoya, which is the headquarters of Toyota. And you have a lot of tier one makers. So there, I think those like hub and the cabinet office has a program which is called the Global Startup Ecosystem Hub or something. I forgot the official name, but they're assigned 13 regions in Japan where they are providing individual support to help the foreign startup to come. I think there are about 11 or 12 municipalities in Japan which provide startup visa. Shibuya being the only place in Tokyo, by the way. So you can see that there are different trials, but obviously Tokyo is the center of Japan. Right? More than 20% of the GDP is in Tokyo. All the large corporations headquarters in Tokyo. So unless you have a very specific reason why you would have a better fit elsewhere, I think Tokyo would be the only option. Yeah.
Okay. Any speaker wants to jump in, feel free to jump in. If not, I'm going to be moved to the... Is there any questions from the physical audience? Okay, no questions. I'm expecting a lot of questions. From here, chat, we saw it. We saw multiple questions, but we will prioritize to the navigating to the Japan market, not generalized question. One of the things, where we can find the accelerator program for Japan, do you recommend some?
So what I think.
How about Jason? From your experience, what accelerator you have joined? One shout out is the Founder Institute. We also quite well connected. We are not the Founder Institute and Openfor.co. If you are a growth stage startup, we have a different plan as well. So it can be a launch pack. Let's listen from the Jason.
Yeah, of course, Founder Institute. And there is another option. It is more about the corporate accelerator program. As we know, many successful Japanese big corporations have a lot of cash. They need to do innovation to bring some new air to their corporation. So they run a lot of corporate accelerator programs.
Open innovation.
Open innovation, and that would be a very good start point to kickstart something in Japan.
To your targeted corporate industry, of course, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Any?
So in general, there are a lot of acceleration programs for startups. So I would just do a Google search, make a list of the programs that are available and the timings, if the timing fits for you, and then look at what is their specialty, like what are they focused on, because there are, for example, accelerators that are industry agnostic or that are focused on deep tech or focused on agri-tech, health tech. So find the one that fits your needs, and then choose from there.
Okay,
There's a lot of support available.
thank you. Alex?
And there are, so of course there are programs in Japan by the Japanese government, Tokyo government and so on, but there are also programs in different countries. For example, there's the Canadian Technology Accelerator who is sending startups to Japan, from Canada to Japan on a regular basis. The German Accelerator from Germany, Go Tokyo from Austria and so on. So I think, and I'm now in discussion with EU, so the European community, to set up a program to help European startups come to Japan too, right? So I think there would be a lot of programs in your own country too if you do the research. So try both ways, not only in Japan but also on your own country.
Okay. I think some people are asking about the Visa. Visa recently a big chain, which is kick out or become difficult to enter as an early stage entrepreneur. I have a very detailed resource, and I can also connect with you with the right people. I'm not a Visa expert. I'm just getting the right information only. I can share with you the resource, and then I cannot share with you right now because I'm not ready. But feel free to connect me on a LinkedIn. I joined this event. Can you share with me the visa? And I can connect you with the right person who can support you, different from our community. That's one thing that I like to parse about it. Other than this year the resume maker thing. We have 4 minutes left. What about for defense export with the USA and NATO products?
So like defense technology, you mean?
What about he just asked if what about for defense export and USA with the USA and NATO products? Maybe defense coming to the Japan industry. Maybe this is a question.
So
probably.
like working with the GA, the defense force, you mean? I'm not sure if I could hear well. It's a bit noisy here.
Probably he's writing a very brief, so I cannot so clear. Probably he's a defense related startup.
Okay.
Entering to the Japan market.
Sure. All right.
Any advice?
Yeah. So I think we are starting to use the term dual use instead of defense to be a bit more indirect. And so the Ministry of Economy is putting this as one of the 17 priority industry. So it's getting bigger and bigger. We have some VCs such as Incubate Fund, who is very heavily starting to invest in that type of industry. And drone technology obviously is now becoming the hot topic. AI, I'm now in discussion with some association who is developing product from defense point of view for the AI industry, for example. So there is money there. And I don't want to be any racist or whatever, but they don't like Chinese technology, unfortunately, right? So, sorry, I'm married to a Chinese person, so I'm not against any China thing, but that's the truth, right? So Japan, the virtual enemy being China, they have to make sure that the defense is not using any Chinese technology inside. And drone is almost, you can't make your drone fly without Chinese technologies now. So they are putting a lot of money there to develop a very national or collaboration with the US. So I think it's very interesting industry. I think, and they may be already finished, but there will be a big event of defense tech in Tokyo in June, I think. So you just asked ChatGPT to take about the event, but yeah.
I like to wrap up for now. So with the final wrap up, kind of final message, and I like to also hear what is your secret sauce of successfully navigating in Japan as a startup? That's one main thing that one of our secrets. So if you can share in your wrap-up message, it will be great.
Yes, secret sauce. It is very hard to say. Of course, background, cultural background and language background or education background in Japan is very important. And the second thing is if we don't have this background, why not consider a Japanese general manager? And that's also very helpful for us to engage in this unique market.
So I think I'm getting the one new message, which is finding the right talent, which is like leading in the Japan market, is one of the secret sauce.
Yes, he can be your co-founder. I even let me say secured my Japanese co-founder in Hong Kong
Okay.
when we started the project, and our Japanese co-founder was really, really helpful. Although everything, culture, language is different, we have been working together through this difficult journey for 6 years. So securing someone who is really familiar with Japan might be the secret sauce.
I have seen this pattern a lot again and again, especially for the early stage startup coming and navigating Japan successful, who raise multiple rounds, which is they all have a Japanese co-founder. Like maybe it is one of the gain trust as an early stage founder. I don't want to be diving too much because we already wrap up. Karen, your final wrap up message, anything that final word from you to the audience?
Yeah, I would say get the partner matching right in the beginning, to have someone who's really helpful to make the introductions that you need, because that person will change what is possible for you in Japan and also how fast it can happen.
Thank you. Alex, final words?
Well, I'd say commitment and that's a kakugo in Japanese, but it's not an easy country to come. So if you want to start a business in Japan, make sure that that's really the right choice, because it's a very long way and very tough journey. And so it's completely different from trying to start a business in the US, right? So, and you cannot just try and give up like this. So if you want to come to Japan as an entrepreneur, be sure, it's almost like a marriage. Be sure that that's the right person, like you won't regret after. So you really have to have the commitment. Yeah.
Thank you. As a final word from me is I'm focusing on happy the Japan startup ecosystem entering here, but I'm not doing that consulting one. I just want to be a connector. Okay, and then I pass to my, other service provider ecosystem like a Visa, especially these kind of people. I get the information from them. I share from my LinkedIn. So anything that you resource or where I should go and connect, I'm happy to have. That's one thing. Second thing is who are based in APAC. If you are a startup founder, wants to get the global funding, which is also I do that one too. Feel free to connect me on a LinkedIn. That's my focus at the moment. As an Openfor.co, we have from the individual to the growth stage startup, whatever that you are working on. But in terms of the connector, and we connect later on with the other deep dive expert, like someone like a speaker on this panel. Thank you so much for your time. This is a wrap up. Feel free to find me in a networking session. Looking forward to talk to you more. Thank you.